So we're going to go with the John Henry Whalen mayors. There's 4 John Henry Whalen mayors out of Louisville. Not only do you have 4 mayors that was basically bought, intimidated, for these fucking Confederate mayors. Well, I think that's enough, actually. So you have John Henry Whalen. John Henry Whalen's this Confederate fucking corrupt political boss, like Boss Tweed, Boss Hogg. So Boss fucking Whalen, the Buckingham boss, fucking Napoleon. So the Buckingham boss, John Henry Whalen, got P. Booker Reed, he got William O. Head, John H. Buschemeyer, and Paul C. Barth all elected. So I'm not sure what it is about fucking Confederate mayors or fucking white supremacist pieces of shit, but they got to put in their middle initial, right? Paul C. Barth. Then you have P. Booker Reed. He puts the fucking initial in the beginning. William O. Head, and then John H. Buschemeyer. All right, so maybe that fucking initial is actually what gets him elected. George W. Bush, right? He was all like, yeah, W, vote W. So... yeah, so those are the 4 fucking people, Confederate fucking mayors of Louisville I wanted to touch on, and then also want to talk about Neville Miller. In 1937, he was known as the Flood Mayor, so the fucking flood in 1937 happens, and he saves everybody, known as the Flood Mayor, Neville Miller. Then you have Andrew Brodus. And Andrew Brodus is, he desegregated the Chickasaw Park, or Chickasaw Park was the only park for black people until Andrew Brodus came by and desegregated the public parks for everybody. So there's 6 people. Hopefully I'll be able to get touch on them. These will be the last ones in the end, and then we'll get to the last 5 mayors in Louisville. So, let's start out with fucking, see, we already got Paul C. Barth. Let's go with P. Booker Reed. P. Booker Reed was before Paul Barth. He's got this, he looks like a fucking old Confederate fucking dipshit, big ass fucking beard. The hair's all parted as if he even tried to give a shit, you know? So, Paul Booker Reed, that's what the P stands for, Paul. So, Paul Booker Reed was, he got elected with John Henry Whalen's, machine. He was mayor of Louisville for just 2 years, from 85 to 87. His father, William Decatur Reed, was a lawyer and Kentucky Secretary of State under Governor William Owsley, namesake of Owsley County. So Paul Booker Reed studies at Center College, was interrupted by Civil War. He served in the Confederate Army. Big fucking surprise there, right? For 4 years as a private in the Orphan Brigade and the Kentucky 9th Infantry. After the war, he attended medical school in Europe. He started a successful manufacturing business in Louisville in the 1890s. In 1880, he was appointed to Louisville's Chancery Court. In 1884, with the support of emerging political boss John Whalen, was elected mayor over John W. McGee. During his 3-year term, he balanced the city's budget, cutting unnecessary city positions and lowering salaries, including his own. So, balanced the budget, cut salaries, including his own. So, he paid his bills, right? Nothing really special. After his term, he served as president of the Board of Aldermen as a Republican from 1899 to 1900. As a Republican. So he turns into a Republican. He gets these fucking Democrats to get him elected. And then he dropped out of the 1901 race for mayor. Then he moved west to Seattle, then to Canada. And he's buried in Cave Hill Cemetery. So he's like, try to be fucking mayor of this shithole town. I balanced the budget, y'all didn't give a shit, fuck it, I'm going to Seattle, I'm going to Canada. And Seattle, that's a city comparable to Louisville, right? Seattle, Denver, Nashville, Portland, all these cities have roughly the same population. Denver, Colorado is also where Police Chief Robert White went to. Okay, so that was P. Booker Reed. Unaccomplished, really unremarkable, 2 years, but he was able to get into power because of John Henry Whalen, and he was an ex-Confederate. Eventually, he becomes a Republican, so you know that's interesting. And he got the fuck out of Dodge. So I don't know. I don't love him. I don't hate the guy. Just really, P. Booker Reed, Paul Booker Reed. I don't know anything about you, man. 1909. So after the 1905 to 1907 2-year tenure of Paul C. Barth, he's in there for 2 years, gets all this shit accomplished, builds a $4 million sewer system. After Paul C. Barth builds a $2 million sewer system, establishes Shelby Park, establishes Waverly Sanitarium. After he does that, the Kentucky Court of Appeals it says that his election was invalidated, so he's removed from office. It says everybody that was elected in 1905, the Kentucky Court of Appeals wiped everybody out. Anybody that got elected in 1905 in Louisville, Kentucky, didn't get elected by 1907. So this is 1909. You still have William Henry Whalen, or John Henry Whalen, right? The fucking Buckingham boss. Buckingham boss is still around. Buckingham boss still picking fucking candidates. So Paul Barth was fucking knocked out, but he was able to get his fucking guy in there again. William O. Head. Let's see what kind of man William O. Head is. He's the mayor of Louisville from 1909 to 1913. He was born in Providence, Kentucky. His father's a captain in the Confederate Army. So, again, big fucking surprise. Another fucking Confederate racist mayor out of Louisville, Kentucky. Big fucking surprise. His dad is, his fucking father's a captain in the Confederate Army during the Civil War. He's raised on a farm near Providence, Kentucky. And he came to Louisville age 21 to take a job in a tobacco warehouse. And he stays in the tobacco industry for the rest of his political career. In 1894, he was elected to the Kentucky General Assembly as a Democrat in support of John Henry Whalen's Democratic machine. He defeated James F. Grinstead to be elected mayor of Louisville in 1909. So James F. Grinstead, who is this guy? Who did we lose out to? James F. Grinstead. He was mayor. He used to be mayor from 07 to 09. He had a common school education from Barron County, was at 21 years old, worked in a grocery store as a full partner in 1871, worked in the company for 20 years, founded his own wholesale company in 1892, became a well-known local businessman. In 1901, he won the Republican nomination to run for governor, but learned his backer, Republican Party boss Charles Sapp, had used some questionable tactics to get Grinstead votes. Grinstead declined the nomination, earned him the nickname Honest Jim. So fucking Honest Jim got fucking kicked out by the fucking John Henry Whalen, the Buckingham boss's political machine. So the Buckingham boss was able to push him out. Grinstead declined the nomination, earned him the nickname Honest Jim. So that's interesting. Learned his backer, Republican Party boss. So Charles Sapp was a fucking boss too. So you had boss Charles Sapp, and then you had boss John Henry Whalen. So William O. Head, he's local newspaper ran stories intended to scare white voters into voting for Head, exploiting fears of a growing black community in Louisville. So William O. Head got elected because they race baited, watch out for the black folks, they're going to get equal rights. This is 1909 at the time, 1909 to 1913, so 100 years ago. But 60 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, and people are scared that they'll get equal rights, so there's still this fucking racist, scary, stupid fucking fear that's been persistent and just keeps on existing. We had slavery in this country. It was fucking bad, and we need to fix it. We need to fucking pay reparations so that way we can move, go forward. We can move forward with race relations. This keeps lingering, and you keep on getting these ex-Confederates coming out the fucking word work, and you still filling prisons up with fucking black folks, and they're still getting hit over the head, with billy clubs and shit. So race baiting. This is a John Henry Whalen fucking man. So it's kind of expected. Head oversaw William O. Head his accomplishments to reform the city's tenement housing, adding code to the city's charter forbidding various unacceptable practices by landlords. So he's going after the landlords. I must say I kind of like that. He also began appropriating funding for the University of Louisville. So those are two fucking good things. William O. Head starts paying for U of L, and he was able to stop landlords from fucking over their renters, which is something that I would like for my mayor today, Greg Fisher. What are you doing about these landlords? Is there any fucking renters' rights? Do we have any? Basically, I feel like I'm completely at the mercy of any landlord that's out there, and that's not right because they have to abide by certain regulations.